The first thing we want to talk about is what is Amazon actually hoping to learn from a candidate throughout the interview process? And kind of more specifically for this presentation, we'll talk about the coding kind of portion of the assessment. So really what we're looking for is these 5 bullet points. The first one is problem statement retention. Can you read a problem and understand what it's asking? I think that's really key, is really being able to read the problem deeply. We'll work through an actual problem towards the end of this session, and we'll work on that skill together. Next, obviously, we want to test your coding ability. Can you understand that problem, figure out a solution, but then more importantly, can you take that solution and translate it into code really accurately? The next one is data structure application. So we're not necessarily looking for people that know exactly how, a tree map is implemented or something like that. But what we're really looking for is, can you take a problem and apply an appropriate data structure to it at the appropriate time to solve that problem in a simple way, right? Do you know when to use a list, when to use a map, when to use a set? Can you apply those in the correct place? Then you'll definitely get a lot of questions from interviewers about runtime complexity. And this isn't necessarily memorizing every single algorithm out there and what its runtime complexity is. This is about sort of common sense runtime complexity, I guess, walking through your own code and being able to assess what its runtime complexity would be and any potential major issues you might have. And then finally, and I think this one's really important, is create a simple solution. There's definitely a lot of opportunities in these interviews to create something that's extremely complex, and we really value the simple solution that solves a complicated problem in a way that lots of people can understand. And then I also want to talk about what Amazon's not testing, like what's not important to us. I'm going to be coding today in Java. That doesn't mean that you need to be an expert in Java. We want you to code in the language that's most good for you. If you're an expert in C#, code in C#. If you're an expert in JavaScript, code in JavaScript, right? That's going to be the place that you're going to shine the most, and that's what we're looking for, not necessarily someone that knows every intricacy of Java. And then we're also not testing purposely confusing or tricky questions. If you don't understand something in your interview, we expect you to ask your interviewer a question, right? We want you to just clarify that with your interviewer and make sure that you do understand, because we don't want you to not get a job at Amazon because we asked a confusing question. So the next thing we're going to do is jump over to HackerRank. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. HackerRank is the website that we use to give you sort of an online coding assessment before your on-site interview. So we will send you a link, and you'll come over here to HackerRank, and you'll have to do this coding question. And then depending how you do, we'll invite you for an on-site interview.